All right, fair warning. This is going to go by very fast. I desired to make this a 5-minute teaching. It's 4 minutes and 58 seconds. This is over the end of time, another aspect of this. So Matthew 24:14, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached unto all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. This is a very plain statement saying that the end cannot come until the gospel is preached to all the nations. Let's look at the word world that's used in the passage. Once again, it's the word oikimene. The word oikimene can mean the entire world, but in usage, it generally is referring to a localized area, as you can see from the definition on the screen. Usually the localized area is really the Roman Empire. If we're looking at it in usage here, as you can see now, this is just a few examples of the 16 times it's used, and in all of these examples the word oikimene is translated as world, but in these examples, as you can see, it's just the Roman Empire. It's not the entire globe that's being discussed, and that's usually how this word is. Going back to the same verse, the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached unto all the world, that's oikimene, localized, not the entire globe, for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. So what we should focus on now is what these nations actually are. The nations, of course, is the Greek word ethnos. This is where we get our word ethnicity. It's usually a word that's really meaning Gentile. It's really meaning them, being the Gentiles or the other people or the heathens, versus us, the Israelites. As you can see from the usage here, even from Galatians, it's referring to the Gentiles. In Ephesians, it's referring to the Gentiles that had been converted to be Israelites from being Gentiles. Even in Thessalonians, as you can see, the Jews are forbidding us, us being Paul and his people, to speak to the Gentiles. All of these are the Greek word ethnos. Immediately, a question must be asked. Was this task completed? Was the gospel message said to all the nations? Was it completed? Well, as can be shown here from Colossians 1:23, Paul is speaking to the Colossians, and he says that the gospel has been spoken to every creature which is under heaven. The only way an individual could come to the conclusion that this is not all the people on the world is that they believe a creature is a reptile or a scorpion. Paul is saying the task is done. Here in Romans 10:18, he's also referring to the gospel message being spread out through the entire world. Yes, verily, their sound, speaking of the gospel, went into all the earth, and their words unto the end of the world, speaking of individuals who are preaching the good news message. So again, Paul says the event was done. Here in 2 Timothy 4:17, he says that the preaching might be completely accomplished, and that all the Gentiles, that is again the Greek word ethnos, nations, might hear, and I was delivered out of the mouth of the lion. Again here he is saying the task is done in his day. Immediately, I felt it was necessary to pull up a few other Bible translations just to show, because I sort of edited that last one to make it like the translation from the ISR reads. Here's 12 different Bible translations showing you that it does indeed say that he completed this task in his day. So, as can be seen from the text presented, Paul considered this task completed in his day. I actually just included a few off the top. Seeing as this task was completed while Paul was alive, how has the end of time not arrived nearly 2,000 years later? It's a very serious question to ask ourselves today. This could appear to be a Bible contradiction. I mean, how can it say it's done when it isn't done? But this is actually not a contradiction. It's a Bible affirmation that the end of time took place nearly 2,000 years ago. Not recognizing that this task was completed in Paul's day necessarily leads one to embrace an end-time ideology very different from what was held in the first century. Even other New Testament writers attest to the fact that the gospel has been preached to all the Gentiles, which is all the nations in the world. Here again is the verse, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then the end shall come. Immediately again we need to ask the question, was this completed? Has this happened? And without question from the New Testament, the answer is yes. This event did take place, which of course means the end of time already happened. And that's it. Shalom.
created using Powtoon.